Okay, so today we leveled the trailer. Took us about 4 hours. Didn't cost us anything though. You can see we used bricks, a mixture of bricks, cinder blocks, and some old pressure treated 2x4s. We had the bricks and the cinder blocks laying around the backyard from our own previous projects, as well as some projects from some previous owners. So that was definitely a win for the budget. And if you've noticed, we've got our trailer jacked up really high. Here's Glenn standing next to it for reference. He is about 6 feet tall, probably 6'1" or 2" with his hat on. But part of the reason we have our trailer jacked up so high is that we live in an area where we have quite a bit of slope to our lot, both in this direction and in this direction. And believe it or not, this is the flattest portion of our yard that we could find to set this trailer. So if you are thinking about building your own tiny house, definitely choose a flat spot if you can. Another reason we have our trailer jacked up so high is that we have to get our wheels off the ground. It's really important. Your rubber will rot if your wheels are not at least several inches off the ground. It's also important to note that these Jenga-like pillars we have created will more than likely settle over time, so that's another reason that we have jacked the trailer up so high. And as an overview of how on earth we created this, here's Glenn.
Alright, so basically what we ended up doing was we started out with a single cinder block on the bottom for each pillar, and we leveled that spot, and that was important. We tried just putting the blocks directly on, but they were in sideways and it wasn't going to be stable. So we took a shovel and we just kind of leveled it by removing dirt, and then we leveled it in both directions so it was plumb, and we stacked alternating bricks and cinder blocks, bricks, and these bricks themselves are actually alternating as well, and that's to improve the stability. And we didn't have enough cinder blocks just to do with cinder blocks, so we used these old bricks as well. And as you can see here, if you look over there, we just got two 2x4s here, and then over on the other side we have a 2x4 and a half-inch piece of plywood. That was to get it very accurately leveled side to side. And as we move over the front, on the back, if you can see on the back here, we actually used this hydraulic floor jack that I use for my car. So we used that to jack up the back on either side. We had to, because it doesn't have much travel, we had to mount it. We had to jack it up and then put more bricks under it and then jack it up again, and then we had to kind of alternate, so stair step back and forth to make that work. But we used this for the back, but we found that was a little more tedious. But we found that if we used in the front here, we have our trailer jack. And so once we got the back two sides leveled from side to side, we just used the trailer jack in the front here to level the ones in the front, and that actually was a lot easier. So, and the cool thing about our trailer jack is that, it's a really nice one, which is much nicer than on smaller trailers. They have much chintzier jacks, but you can actually pull out this little cotter pin and you can move it up and down and lock it back into place, and that's really handy so you don't have to spend so much time cranking. So that worked out pretty well. But what we ended up doing here is we brought it up and we looked from front to back to make sure that it was level there, and then all we had to do was shim on the side with some plywood and some 2x4s, and the entire thing is level. Now it's pretty stable. If I can really yank on it and it doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, these blocks look a little like Jenga. They look a little unstable, but
a bit precarious.
Yeah. but they're actually pretty. I mean, they're a lot more stable than they look, and this is actually what in normal houses, residential construction, this is what foundation piers actually look like. They're usually just a bunch of concrete blocks stacked on each other and they're mortared together. So these are actually very rigid, and we wanted to get this so high off the ground because we wanted to be able to get under the tiny house to work on things like plumbing and insulation, and any electrical we want to run. We're kind of doing this in a way that's different than other tiny homes. Usually most tiny houses, what they do is they build the floor and they seal it in, they go ahead and insulate it and seal it in, and they put the subfloor on. But we're actually doing a different approach because our tiny house is going to have holding tanks for water and for gray water. And those are going to be below the floor. So we want to be able to access them when we do the plumbing phase, which is usually much later in a construction project. So that's part of the reason we did that. But yeah, we got it all leveled. It's really high off the ground. We're going to be getting onto it from the left side over here. We have these little steps to get up on it. There's no way we're going to be able to get up on that side. We'd end up falling off or killing ourselves, something to that effect. But yeah, now we can go ahead and work on the trailer. It's level, and we can go ahead and proceed with the subfloor.